Core Bank is 7 o'clock.
Coming up in CVM News at 7, Ebola detection protocols, 8 passengers under mandatory self-quarantine, shelter manager shortage ahead of 2026 hurricane season, and fire brigade prepares for El Nino. Later on in sports, Jamaica beaten by Nigeria in Unity Cup final. Hello from Kingston, Jamaica. This is CVM News at 7 for Saturday, May 30, 2026. I'm Carolyn Brown. Thanks so much for joining us. First up, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, that is, advises 8 passengers with a travel history associated with countries where the Ebola virus has been detected have been placed under mandatory self-quarantine. The ministry also confirms there continues to be no detected cases of Ebola on the island. Jamaicans or travelers to Jamaica are urged to review their travel plans and avoid traveling to or transiting through affected countries. The ministry also urges members of the public to desist from circulating misinformation concerning the Ebola virus, which can cause unnecessary anxiety.
The ministry has heightened surveillance at our ports of entry. Any person entering the country from a country where there is an outbreak of Ebola virus disease will be quarantined. So far, we have 8 travelers that are being quarantined. These persons have no symptoms. They are not suspected cases. This is a precautionary measure to ensure early detection of cases. The health departments will continue to daily monitoring of persons in quarantine.
Now, concerns have been raised about the strain on Jamaica's health system, with the opposition warning vulnerable patients are being hardest hit by rising costs and staffing gaps. Kevin Black reports.
Spokesman on health, Dr. Alfred Dawes, is warning that Jamaica's health system is leaving vulnerable patients behind, pointing to high costs and limited access to essential care. Dr. Dawes says many Jamaicans are being failed by a system where basic health services still require out-of-pocket spending, including medication and diagnostic tests.
It comes down to how we look after the most vulnerable, and it's manifested in the socio-economic determinants of health. Persons who fall in the gap between path and being able to take care of themselves, whether it's nutrition. There are persons who are medically poor because they have gotten a diagnosis and their pensions can't manage to cover the costs, primarily because healthcare is really not free in Jamaica.
He further emphasized that the country is losing critically trained health professionals to migration, creating gaps that the system cannot quickly replace.
They've had the health system and they've had governments for 10 years. They boast a lot about moving the health budget from $60 billion to now it is almost $200 billion. There has been a tripling of the health budget, and during the same period, we're seeing worsening indicators. You had the resources and you misplaced those resources, and that is why Jamaicans are subjectively feeling like they're getting poor health care, and objectively we're seeing worsening indicators of health care.
Dr. Dawes is calling for reform in healthcare financing, including the introduction of a national health insurance scheme to improve access and reduce inequality in the system.
We need to reform healthcare financing. We have to have a national health insurance scheme. We also need to have not just the coverage for mammograms, since breast cancer is the second leading cause of cancer in women, but we need to improve the access to mammograms. I think we only have 2 working mammograms in the public system in the entire island.
Kevin Black reporting for CVM News.
And to the CVM News update now, the fate of hundreds of Jamaicans remains unclear ahead of the 2026 Atlantic hurricane season, despite thousands reportedly benefiting from the government's roofs program. Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, Dion Jennings, says a large percentage of applicants to the program did not meet the criteria for payout, and several others require reassessment. More from Negril.
Despite the government's roofs program pumping some $9.5 billion into rehabilitating homes, for many who faced Melissa's wrath, scores of Jamaicans continue to wait for help. Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, Dion Jennings, notes challenges in the first phase of the program impacting disbursement or qualification for grants under the three categories: minor, major, and completely destroyed.
To date, we have 94,000 assessments that would have been cleaned and verified, and approximately 74,000 assessments had undergone geospatial cleaning and validation processes. And the disbursements under the roofs program is about $9.45 billion. We still have issues relating to reconciliation and verification as pertaining duplicate entries, incomplete household records, geospatial inconsistencies.
She notes there were also hurdles linked to TRN. Additionally, Ms. Jennings says so far there have been over 33,000 applicants under the minor category, over 37,000 experiencing major damage, and some 16,000+ whose homes were completely destroyed. Yet, data duplication and other issues warranting reassessments have hit the program as they step into phase 2 of the process: treatment and corrective measures after gleaning the data. As it pertains to those who applied but say they never received a response, the Acting Permanent Secretary says,
we would have provided the members of Parliament with a list of those who would have been qualified, those who have been verified for payment. That list would have been sent out already.
Yes.
And so we're going to move to the next phase now. Once we have more clean data, we'll provide that to you. In addition, we'll be providing the list in terms of where we have the TRN that needs validation and so on for persons to be engaged in the field with us in getting and even in identifying some of these people.
Concerns grew as PAAC members learned some 7 months after the disaster assessments would still be conducted on households days out of another hurricane season. But there was more. PAAC Chairman Peter Bunting urged the ministry to assist with hurricane victims still displaced, being summoned by the courts for jury duties despite their sufferings, sometimes in other parishes.
Maybe they could, send out communication to their persons and give greater consideration to the persons who have been affected in those parishes that may have a challenge in being present for jury duty. That's what I'll commit to do.
Akeem Oret ending that report. Now there's a sense of panic amongst members of the Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation as there is a clear unwillingness of persons to sign up for shelter management duties. This is, of course, a major concern for government officials, as despite various interventions, individuals are still refusing to sign up for active duty 2 days away from the official start of the 2026 hurricane season. Damien Phillips has that report.
Because we're going to be planning for the worst and hoping for the better.
A discussion to update on the situation and the preparedness of the relevant authorities for the 2026 hurricane season.
We also have identified that there's a major gap with shelter managers. So a lot of shelter managers have said that they either do not wish to serve or they have just given up answering calls.
So the role of a shelter manager is ensuring the efficient operation of shelter facilities and maintaining a safe environment for residents, overseeing daily operations including intake and orientation for new residents, providing daily necessities such as meals, personal hygiene items, and sleeping arrangements, managing resources and supervising support staff to ensure comprehensive services are provided, liaising with external partners to enhance services and prepare reports on shelter operations. They also maintain accurate records of shelter residents and activities and ensure compliance with health, safety, and operational standards. The void will have to be filled. Senior personnel aware of the urgency and the dilemma they now face.
As such, we have to fill those vacant spots. And as such, we will be having our shelter management training. We are looking at filling the gaps. So again, councillors, I'll ask you to assist me greatly in that regard. And we'll also see if we can ask the SDC to assist in any shortages that we may find.
From all indications, were government officials caught flat-footed knowing preparation is key? Many lessons have been taught from previous hurricane systems which battered Jamaica, but did that resulting stress of Melissa offer any discouragement? The hope is that workers will find some sense of patriotism despite the harrowing realities faced when a hurricane hits. Something to think about, one of their main planning meetings being held 1 month after the season begins.
We also will be having our annual shelter management conference, which is held with all shelter managers at the end of July. And that is really to bring all of them together so that we can impart new information to them so that they're aware when they go out what it is that they're to be expecting for this season.
Plans also disclosed for how persons will be trained for their respective duties. Heavy reliance on community involvement and the role citizens play in the aftermath of a major weather system.
We have to empower our communities to be more resilient, and as such we will be trying to embark on a program that we're bringing DRM to the communities. We will also be inviting our agencies to participate in that so that persons are aware of what the roles and functions of each agency in the whole response mechanism is, so that we give the community a better understanding of what it is that everybody does and who has a different shape of the pie.
The disaster coordinator mindful many persons are new and don't understand what they are getting into for these emergency situations, adding that workshops will be held. She warned councillors not to be tardy in finding persons to sign up for duties, as things could easily fall apart without adequate personnel. For CVM News, I'm Damon Phillips.
Fire gutted a restaurant and a bar on Ward Avenue in Mandeville. The firefighters say they received a call about 4:15 Saturday morning that two businesses, Newsman Fried Chicken and No Traction Chill Spot, were on fire. The blaze was contained and extinguished shortly after 6. Now, the owner of Newsman Fried Chicken, Adika Miller, estimated his losses at approximately $10 million. And up to news time, investigations were continuing. The cause of the fire is not yet known.
I got a call about 4:25 a.m. There was a large flame coming from next door to me, which is the bar beside me. When I came, I realized that the bar was totally gone, and my place from the outside looked like it was partially damaged. Upon getting closer, when I look at the inside, I realized that it was burned out entirely. Lost everything. It's a great loss, a great blow. And the fire came from the bar next door. Still not sure what would have caused the fire. But the firemen came and they did their checks, and it was nothing from my side. The fire came to the roof and burned its way down. Luckily, it did not burn the gas lines to my fire, so the gas was not a factor in terms of fueling the fire. If that had happened, then I think the entire complex would have gone. I have a large gas tank at the back there. Yeah, it is a month old, pretty new, and it's a fried chicken business. I mean, fried chicken, wraps, sandwiches. Today, we're here at what is left of Newsman Fried Chicken, which is very sad. Not even in the position to make a plan for, because today I'm burying my stepfather, so I will leave in no time. report more to lay him to rest, so it's a lot at this time. But I mean, the investigation is still ongoing because the firemen are waiting on their certified technician to check to see if it could be possibility of an electrical fire. I currently employ 4 persons, so they are now out of a job.
Meanwhile, as Jamaica prepares for hotter and drier conditions under a developing El Nino system, Public Education Officer for the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Superintendent Emilio Ebanks, says steps are being taken to prepare for an increase in fire risks across the island. Here's more from Carla Ramdeen.
Public Education Officer Superintendent Emilio Ebanks says the fire brigade is preparing by strategically positioning resources across the island to improve response times during the expected dry conditions. He also addressed concerns regarding the likelihood of drought and how that may affect the brigade's ability to respond to a fire.
One of the things I always remind persons of, there are underground sources that we know about that members of the public won't necessarily know about. Once there is a fire, then the law gives us the authority to use whatever water sources there might be available and close by. So whilst we are fed primarily through a hydrant network that is supplied by the National Water Commission, we are able to pull from open sources.
Superintendent Ebanks explains that many fires are caused by human error. He notes that farmers engage in agricultural burning. This practice significantly increases the risk of fires spreading quickly under hotter and drier conditions.
When the farmers are cleaning the land, they're clearing the land for farming, in preparation for farming, the refuse that most persons look to burn, the farmers in St. Elizabeth will take it and they'll put it in an area and create mulch from it. And that is what we have been trying to get out there to farmers, alternatives to burning. So we go to the farmers groups, we work through RADA and all the other community groups. Get the information out there to the farmers.
Superintendent Ebanks says the fire brigade is intensifying public education to promote safer practices, emphasizing that prevention is key during the expected dry period.
We can remember years ago, every year we would have massive bushfires in Upper St. Andrew. And we went in as an organization and worked with the farmers groups. And that was over 10 years ago. And the lessons that we taught them there, they are still using today, and that has resulted in way less fires that we've seen coming out of those areas. And even the fires that we're seeing, they are not as quote-unquote aggressive and large as the fires that we used to have before.
Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.
More CVM News at 7 in just a moment.
This week on Farming Forward, we're coming to you from, whoa, look at that, we're coming to you from Riverdale in St. Catherine, and we'll be talking to that young entrepreneur you just saw. He was picking breadfruits, but I can tell you about the chickens that he's been caring for all these years. He'll be talking to us about real yard chickens. Farming Forward. We're brought to you by Nutrimix. Tell me, Nutrimix. The big feed. The big feed.
This is CVM News at 7. Thanks so much for staying with us. Now, with questions swirling about the construction of a third international airport here in Jamaica, this update now from Joel Crosskill.
Lots to share with you in the business report today, as anticipation grows for the construction of Jamaica's fourth international airport, to be located in Little London, less than 20 kilometers distance from the 7-mile Negril beach. The recently concluded Throp X Investment Conference was the runway from which Horace Bryson, Senior Director of Engineering, Maintenance and Projects at the Airports Authority of Jamaica, indicated the timelines involved before the almost $500 million project achieves liftoff.
So that area in green that you see there is the proposed site that is preferred for the airport. That is a couple hundred acres. But that's the kind of planning and the magnitude that we have to do. And what you're looking at there in the middle is actually a runway strip. Right. And it's a couple miles long, about 3 miles long. This is all in the name of development and development of our country.
Negril and its environs currently contribute close to a third of the island's $4.3 billion in tourism earnings, while attracting just 18% of total arrivals. The construction of a new airport is expected to increase those numbers significantly.
When a tourist gets on a plane and they take 2 hours to come here, they want to start their holiday as quickly as possible. So it's quite frustrating for them. And we get the complaints, we get the feedback from the Jamaica Tourist Board and the other entities that tells us these things. When we build the Negril Airport, our analysis shows that in a little while, we'll be accommodating 189,000 passengers.
With projections for that number to climb to 1.23 million by 2047. However, concerns continue to linger relating to the involvement of local contractors in its construction. Concerns were voiced in relation to the selection of concessionaires, with some advocating that preference for Jamaican businesses should be reserved.
There will be no direct contracting of any entity whatsoever. It will be by competitive bidding, totally. Okay? The size of it may be a little bit big for any single Jamaican company, but when we put out bid offers like these, we accept joint ventures as well, and allow time, because joint ventures don't form overnight. So we allow time within the bidding process for joint ventures to come together. And we prefer when we see Jamaicans involved. We benefit more, and we're more assured that the money stays here. We actually have a preference for qualified, capable locals to benefit from these one-of-a-lifetime projects.
Prospective bidders, however, have less than a year to prepare, according to the Airport Authority's Senior Director.
It will come out in about 8 to 9 months.
Oh, okay.
I say it will be all over the place, gazetted, newspaper, GIS, all over. The government procurement process takes some time, but we would like to have shovels in the ground. We're now at 2026. Definitely by 2028, by our 2030. That's what the kind of timeline that we're looking at.
Wonderful. And again, perfect world, how long would it take to complete, or complete in the sense of having airplanes land on that runway?
You wouldn't get a runway under maybe 24 to 36 months all told. So 3 years is a reasonable time.
And that was your business report. I'm Joel Crosskill.
And now regional and international news.
We begin with news from the region. As Guyana celebrated its 60th independence anniversary on Tuesday, the country was launched into a new era of healthcare, robotic surgeries. The country first conducted a distance surgery with a surgeon at the Georgetown Public Hospital operating on a patient in Indore, India, and then several other robotic assistant surgeries on patients in Guyana throughout the day. Further afield, police in South Africa are conducting immigration checks targeting suspected undocumented foreigners, leading to detentions and business closures in Durban. We go to Al Jazeera for more.
That's why you need to close the shop. You understand? We verify you, we verify the papers of the shop.
South African cities have been experiencing a rise in social unrest as locals blame crime and unemployment on illegal immigration, targeting mainly other Africans.
Meanwhile, 8 students were arrested after 16 girls were killed in a suspected arson attack at a Kenyan boarding school. More from the BBC News.
The news of the 8 arrests was met with a lot of anger, understandably, from here, mostly because the parents that are present here, some of those parents are parents of kids who died in the fire and others of children who are held because of suspicion of arson.
A Russian drone struck an apartment building in NATO member Romania early Friday, wounding 2 people in the latest spillover from the war in Ukraine. France 24 has the details.
There's a chorus of voices, using this to remind Europeans of the threat that Russia really poses to them and calling for more help in protecting their airspace. I haven't yet seen if there was a reaction from Volodymyr Zelensky. Certainly there's been a very strong international reaction.
And that's it for regional and international news. I'm Marshall Hazley.
We now make way for sports with Orville Higgins.